Welcome on in to See Next Podcast, a weekly tech news podcast hosted by me, Dash Frame. Okay, so let's get right on into the news. China has finally approved the first batch of NVIDIA H200 AI GPUs to be imported, which now NVIDIA can finally get some of those in to China. And now through a new feature, you can show off your vibe coding expertise through LinkedIn. So it'll be like your Duolingo score that they're always trying to get you to put on your LinkedIn. This can have like a little um, badge, which if you're not familiar, vibe coding is like AI coding with AI, which I think is kind of good because it can also show that you know how to use an AI chatbot, which is good. Also, Apple TV is offering its first look at Ted Lasso season 4. So if you want to see a new season of that show, check out that first look. Scott Pilgrim EX is coming to consoles and PC on the 3rd of March. So, if you like previous Scott Pilgrim games, check that out. And MSI has a Prestige series of laptops. You can now get the new refreshed lineup. You can now get them. They're available to buy. Also, Tesla is no longer making Model X or S cars, and instead they're using the factories to make robots. So that is definitely a choice, to take two of their cars out of production to make robots instead. They can do what they want. DJI is now launching a new RS5 camera gimbal. It's lightweight and it's intended to be used for video creators, which, if you're in the market for a new camera gimbal, check that one out. Spotify now has a feature where you can group message through Spotify, which another great update for Spotify if you want to if you have a jam and want to ask the people something about the jam or even a group playlist, that can be good. Also, Main Gear now has some retro gaming desktops that they released that they bring back a retro style look, and those look pretty cool if you're in the mood for some retro PC stuff, not laptops. There's also some music publishers are suing Anthropic AI for over $3 billion because they apparently had piracy going on, glad they're being sued. They don't want to have all that piracy going on through music creation. There's also now Waymos at the San Francisco International Airport. So next time you fly into San Francisco, maybe try an AI taxi instead of getting an Uber. Also, Apple has now reported some iPhone sales, and it's apparently its best ever quarter for them, which that's good for Apple to have some good iPhone sales. And if you want, but soon, the Fallout show is getting a season 2. So if you want to watch season 1, that is now free on YouTube. So check that out if you're at all interested. That could be a fun watch, especially if it's free. Also, Google now has Project Genie. It lets you create your own AI worlds. It basically lets you create AI video games, which is extremely cool. that you can. It's cool that you can now generate video games with AI, even if they're not really video games. They're just pirated mixes of other ones. But also, Indonesia, their ban on Grok is now being lifted. There are a few conditions, but that's. I mean, if you're in Indonesia, be sure to check that out if you're interested in the in Grok, if you want that AI back. Also, if you've been playing Apex Legends on Nintendo Switch, you won't be able to after this season, because Nintendo is not gonna support Apex Legends, or maybe Apex won't support Nintendo. Basically, you won't be able to play after the season. Although, if you need something to do after stopping that, you can now scroll TikTok, because it's apparently back to normal after there were allegedly some winter storm related outages at their headquarters after they transferred stuff. So if you want to scroll on TikTok now, it's back. There's also now a Wikipedia style. A developer, they took Wikipedia and turned it into a social media style feed. Which, I mean, that's cool. It's called Exicopedia. Yeah, I mean, it looks. That seems cool. So, check that out if you want to. There's also OpenAI Codex is now coming to Mac. So if you want to vibe code on Mac, it's becoming a lot easier with this new feature through OpenAI's new support on Mac. Also, Firefox, a while back they had a ton of AI features which people didn't like. So now there's a switch in settings in Firefox that can turn off AI content from your browser, which, I mean, that's a great feature if you don't want AI content. Also, Elon Musk, SpaceX has now bought his other company focused around AI, xAI. So now he's just compiling all of his companies. There's also Moltbook. If you weren't familiar, it has like a lobster logo. It's a social media that only AIs are allowed on. Basically, it was created. It was vibe coded when it was created, and there were human credentials exposed in some security flaws. So that's not good. But if you want some good news, the Switch has just surpassed the DS as Nintendo's best-selling console ever. So, I mean, that's a great feat for Nintendo that they can have a new best-selling console. Also, Notepad++, it was hijacked by some state-sponsored hackers in China. So if you have Notepad++, any confidential information in it, you might want to double check that it's not posted anywhere online. Also, vibe coding seems to be a heavy theme this week because Apple, they have just improved Xcode for vibe coding. So that's great if you like to do that on Apple's Xcode. And ChatGPT is now back up after there's an outage this afternoon. So if you're having trouble with ChatGPT, you shouldn't be anymore. Okay, moving on to the next segment.
Is this a free game you should get, or is it?
So this week's game was totally not fried chicken, and it was not what it was advertised to be. So I thought this was just gonna be like a chill, like simulator to be like a KFC like tycoon game. It was not that at all. So it starts off like that with a poor tutorial, and then it moves on, and then it is not like a chicken simulator. I mean, that's part of it, but then it takes you to another place, which is also part of why the tutorial's so bad. But in this new place, you're just like growing to sell. Um, but yeah, you're growing to sell, and then it keeps moving on, and then that becomes like the main focus of the game, and it's not even about chickens. And because of how crappy the tutorial was, I couldn't figure out how to get back to the chicken farm for a little bit. So, um, I mean, this definitely don't get this if it's not on sale for free. But I mean, always get the free games. But I mean, this one is not what you would expect this game to be. It is not like heavily chicken related. It is very just other stuff related with a poor tutorial. But I mean, to be fair, it can have I mean, it can be fun if you're looking for what it is, but I was not looking for that. I was just wanting to relax with like a KFC tycoon like game, which don't get it if you're expecting that. Okay, but next up we're moving on to the four biggest pieces of news this week. Apple Creator Studio is available. It's $13 a month. So if you're not familiar, Apple released this Creator Studio where they compile a ton of things together. So it includes Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, Pixelmator Pro, Motion, Compressor, and Mainstage. And it's coming to iPad. So it also has premium content in Keynote, Pages, and Numbers. So, I mean, if you have a Mac or iPad and like to create stuff and are already paying for one of these subscriptions, yeah, grab this because it can compress them all into one. That can help you to get it all connect. It can get all of your subscriptions in one place for probably cheaper. So it's cool if you're into any sort of creation that can help you through Mac. Also, Google, they have to pay $135 million in a legal data collection lawsuit. So it's been since November 12th, 2017, Google's been illegally collecting data from cellular phones purchased through carriers, even when apps were closed or location features were disabled. So, if you have an Android phone, you could get up to $100 from Google because they've just been tracking you, even if you've been trying not to let them track you. They have. So, not sure if it's good or bad. I mean, $100, you've been being tracked. Say what you will about that, but check that out if you think that could be, if you think you may be entitled to money, because you very well could be if you've had an Android phone hooked up to cellular services any time recently, because that could definitely get you some money. The next piece of news is that a Waymo Robotaxi, those AI powered Ubers hit a kid near a school. So all of these headlines are talking about it. It braked immediately from 17 miles an hour, and then it was going 6 miles an hour at time of impact. So this was all headlines everywhere. But then there was an investigation opened that human drivers, it did it much better than a human driver could have done. So it really was safer than it, and the child is safe now. But I believe I saw that, but that's great that it's even safer than a human driver could have stopped. Okay, and finally for this week, Nvidia, they are planning to make a quote unquote huge investment in OpenAI, according to the CEO. So that could be good depending on how you want to, um, depending on if you like OpenAI or not, Nvidia. But I mean, it can probably get OpenAI better, honestly. I mean, if they could get Nvidia could invest, get them more money. I'm sure they could also get a discount with Nvidia to get cheaper GPUs to power it all. That could be great. I mean, maybe they could even somehow from this Nvidia could get some RAM manufacturing places to start making more DRAM to lower the prices, maybe. But that's all the news for this week. Be sure to check back next week for the next episode of See Next Podcast.